This Excel version of the Mathematics Vertical Articulation Tool, or the MVAT, was developed by the Appalachia Regional Comprehensive Center for the Virginia Department of Education through funding by the U.S. Department of Education. This free tool is intended to help educators throughout Virginia design learning plans for students who are still working on demonstrating mastery of grade-level math standards. This version is compatible with computers running Windows versions other than Windows Professional and Macintosh OS computers. This demo uses the 6th grade version, but all versions act the same. The MVAT opens to a sheet with complete directions should you need a reminder. Before you start, you'll want to gather data about the students you want to create learning plans for. You will indicate whether a student has successfully demonstrated mastery of each math standard of learning for your grade. You can obtain this information from score reports from past SOL assessments, as well as from benchmark or milestone assessments, unit tests and quizzes, or other in-class means. Use the data you find most helpful. Once you have your data gathered, select Sheet 1, Enter Class Data. From there, you can enter student names and a Y or an N to indicate whether a student has or has not demonstrated mastery of each standard of learning. You can copy a list of student names from another file or enter them individually. You do not need to enter data for every SOL to run the report. You can enter the data for a single student, a whole class, or multiple classes. You can determine what's feasible for you. In the final 2 columns on this sheet, you can list any additional information that will be helpful to remember for each student. If you want to enter this information at a different time, just return to Sheet 1, Enter Class Data to do so. After entering your data, select the tab for Sheet 2, Student Report. Remember, you are entering confidential student data, so be sure to keep your copy of the spreadsheet with student names secure. Never email the data to someone. Always use a secure method to transfer the file to colleagues. On Sheet 2, Student Report, select each student name from the top of the sheet to view their personalized learning plans. Names are available from this pop-up menu in row 2. This is where you may want to determine whether you should limit the number of students you enter per spreadsheet, as you have to scroll through the list to get to each report. You can always duplicate the file for additional reports. Each plan will list student strengths by standard of learning, as well as areas for growth, identified as unfinished learning using a color code. The top of the plan highlights student strengths in green and areas for growth in gray. Below that, the areas of growth are listed in yellow and student strengths are in gray. No highlighting indicates you didn't enter a Y or an N for that SOL. If you want to, go back to Sheet 1. Under the Unfinished Learning, you will find links to Algebra Readiness Plans. You can download and use these plans as instructional material for each standard in the vertical articulation that students are still working on. Again, yellow highlighting indicates areas for growth for this particular student. There are also links to formative assessment items you or other staff can use in your school to monitor student progress on each SOL. Simply click on any of the active links to download documents from the VDOE website. The formative assessment items and readiness plans were developed by math teachers in Virginia with guidance from math experts at the Virginia Department of Education. Because there are a limited number of assessment items, please only use these for students with remediation plans. You can print each student's report either as a PDF file or directly to paper. Because the report includes all SOLs for each grade, it will take multiple sheets of paper. These reports should be kept secure, but can be shared with teachers, coaches, administrators, or instructional aides who can use them to provide remediation to students. There are 2 additional sheets, one for SOLs and descriptors, and one listing all available algebra readiness plans. Feel free to review these sheets if you want to find direct links to materials on the VDOE website. There are a limited number of formative assessment items for the early grades, so scroll down to the higher grades to see the majority of the links. The algebra readiness plans begin immediately with the 4th grade. If for any reason your spreadsheet no longer works, feel free to download an additional copy for free. Please feel free to contact the math specialists at the department to let them know how you are using the MVAT tool and any suggestions you have for further improvements.